Hello and welcome. This is Flat Cap Callum. This is our first additional video for you. So this isn't about daily tips. This is around statistics from last week, a little bit of statistics overall, plus a little bit around science and philosophy around why I do what I do and how I go about doing what I do. So this could end up into a really long-winded ramble. If you are here for a quick few horse racing tips, feel free to switch off now. This is not the video for you. There possibly might be some hidden horses along the way in how I explain things, but this isn't today's tip. So if you stumbled here accidentally, please click onto another video which has got today's date on to find those horse racing tips. This is more for those people who have had their interest piqued by what I'm trying to do and want to understand more and hear a little bit more. So if that is you, stay tuned. We'll go through, to start with, stats for last week in more detail. So £120 were placed on the channel last week. 173.51 was returned. That is a 53.51 profit, which is 44.59%. That is a brilliant week. Okay, if that was every week, I'd be minted, as would you if you follow the tips. But also, B, I probably wouldn't be able to actually put a bet on anywhere because nobody would touch me with a barge pole because there'd be a big red X on my head in any bookmakers or online betting accounts. So 44.59, let's celebrate that. It's a great week. The chances are this week we'll lose money again because, as I always say to you, we will win more days. We will lose more days than we win. Let's get it the right way around. Lose more days than we win, but the profit in the long term is what we're about. Okay. And so far that's true on the channel. We've had bets on 21 days in a row. 6 days we made money, 15 days we lost money. We will lose more days than we win. Okay, if you want to try and find a way of winning every day or winning most days, then you try and find that. This is how I bet. This is how I try and aim to make a bit of profit on the horse racing here, by having bets in this way. So for me to lose on 15 days out of 21 is normal. That is my normal expectation. Okay, so this might be different for some of you in how you bet, but it is normal to lose. I expect to try and make profit in the longer term. Okay, stats for the first 3 weeks of the channel. We have bet £415. We have had £458.49 back. That's £43.49 in profit, and that is equivalent to 10.47%. Again, that is a really, really great figure. So if I got to the end of the year for this channel and we'd made 10% profit, I'd be delighted, absolutely delighted, because I've got constraints about the way that I'm having to do this on the channel, which some of you will already understand and I'll go into a little bit later. But if I made 10% profit on this channel over the course of a year, that would be a right result. I'm aiming just to make any profit this year on this channel by doing what I'm doing, but 10% would be great. So overall, very happy with the first 3 weeks. The betting odds would suggest we'll have a losing week this week and the stats will look worse. Okay, so that's where we are for this week. Happy with that. So other figures for last week. And this is an interesting stat because I've mentioned this on videos before. So I put up 14 horses to win last week. 5 won, which is about 35%. I put up 65 horses each way and 24 of them placed. That's about 36%. And you'll have heard me, if you have watched all the videos, to know that 40% was the mark we were at for the first 2 weeks. And we want to look at one of those figures to be more 45 to 50% if we're going to make money on any given week. So why, if we made less than 40%, so 35 and 36% strike rate on those, why did we make profit last week? The third stat is of the each way bets, what percent of them won. The first 2 weeks of the channel we were running at 4 and 6% on that conversion rate. So the percentage of each way horses on put up on the channel that actually won the race. Last week it was 9 out of 65. That's nearly 14%. That's the figure that pushed us over the line to make a decent profit last week, because that percentage, anything above 10 we should be on for a good week. So if we got 10% winners on each way bets on this channel for a week, that should put us in profit. So the key figures here is if it was win bet percentage, I'd be wanting to get to 45% probably to make some money. If it was each ways, we need 45%, probably, maybe nearer 50. And if it is win percentage of each ways, then anything above 10%, we should be in some profit. Those three figures I will give you up on a regular basis. Last week we did have a 25 to 1 winner, obviously yesterday, 2 11 to 1 winners. That was nice and decent on the each way win percentages there. From a place point of view, we had a 66 and a 50 to 1 place were our best ones. The 66 to 1, if you got it at SP, was 150, so it was a brilliant bet. For the channel, it was only 66s. So that is a few. Sorry, I'm making all sorts of funny noises here, aren't I? That's the just oversharing. That's the stats and the figures for last week and for the first 3 weeks. Another stat I will share with you, I think it's an interesting one, because we had a really good lucky 15 yesterday. We had 2 winners on it. So far on the channel, we've put up 23 lucky 15 bets over 21 days. 23 lucky 15 bets in 21 days. Only 5 have made profit. And again, that is normal to me, okay? So on most days, you will lose on these horses. But the winning days, the profit made in those should outweigh those losses. All right. More about general philosophy about what we're doing. So why do I do what I'm doing? Why have I set up a channel? And why is it free when there are bunches of people out there that will charge you £5, £10 a day, a week, a month for various tips? So I am doing this research on a daily basis for myself. I am then clearly recording more detailed stats, making a video, answering some comments. That's the additional work, but the majority of what I'm doing is actually stuff I'm doing anyway. So I'm deciding that basically the betting market is tough as it is. Vast majority of people lose money on horses. I've worked out and found a few angles in the way that I do things in terms of the types of things I look at, the way that I place the bets, in order for me to try and make a bit of profit, and I want to share some of that knowledge with you. So whether you like the horses or you understand some of the science behind it and you get something and it helps you personally in terms of turns your losing betting account into making money, then that's great, okay? I'm not about, on this channel, making the most amount of profit possible, okay? But I will offer you what I'm doing for free. Now, if I said to you, or you said to me, let's imagine, right, Callum, I'm off racing today. I'm going to Hereford. I mean, not a great meeting, so don't go there today. Sorry, Hereford Racecourse, if you're watching. The quality of the racing is not very good. Anyway, if you were going to Hereford Racing and you said, Callum, can you run through the whole race cards for me and give me advice on tips and racing for each day? If you said that to me, I'd probably charge you for that, because that is a lot of extra additional work that I wouldn't normally be doing. I'm putting this out there because I think there's so many things against people in the betting market and bookmaking. Sometimes if there's someone out there and I think I can offer a little bit of help, then that's what I'm going to do. So I'm putting it out there. And right now I've got license to make the video because we've done all right for 3 weeks. Now in 3 weeks time we could lose everything and be really far behind. No one had watched the videos and literally end up having to cancel the channel. Right now we've made a bit of profit, so I can make a video like this and say that I'm in a position to give you advice. But judge me in the long term. Don't judge me on 3 weeks. 3 weeks has been good, but judge me long term. Primarily here we're horses and golf. Why are we horses and golf? Best value for the betting market, horses and golf, by a mile. Lots of other things like football. I rarely ever do football bets, and I wouldn't put football bets up on here because there's not value. You can do clever things to try and make some money on football bets, but for here it's about value because that's what I like, that's what I enjoy, and it's horses and it's golf, and occasionally other sports if I think it's worth chucking in. So what bits of pearls of wisdom can I give you? Stats and discipline. It's super boring, but it's super important to making money and track what you do. I record every single bet I place. I record every day, every week, every month, every year. I know whether I'm up, down, left or right in terms of what I've done, and that way I can see from a discipline point of view how much money I'm betting, and in terms of the ratios of amount of money I might put on certain bets. So by recording my statistics, I know where I'm at. It's a discipline of doing that, but it also helps me then discipline in terms of the amount of money that I would stake. So discipline and stats are boring but super important. I like variety, so I do different types of bets. I'm trying to do different types of bets on the channel to give you variety, but also for people to understand about what different types of bets mean and the parameters of them. You'll have heard me earlier explain, a win Trixie versus a 2-horse win double and why I've done one way and not the other. Okay, how do I pick horses? Sometimes I pick the horse, sometimes I pick the price, sometimes I pick the race, sometimes I pick the permutations. What does that mean? Okay, so most people, when they bet, they might find something about the horse that they like and that's what they choose, or they might look at the betting market and go, well, that's the favourite, therefore it must have a better chance of winning. That's how most people bet. I need to look at all of those things in the round. So I might look at a race and go, that's the best horse, but at that price compared to the other horses, I don't think that that's a value based bet. So you could have a 1 to 2 favourite in a 8-runner race. It might well be the best horse on form, but you're not going to get value on that price. So an 8-runner race, a 1 to 2 favourite, I'm definitely looking at what is the second or third best horse in that race, because that's more likely to be where the value is. Because if you've got a 1 to 2 favourite, chances are you're probably looking at 3, 4 to 1 second favourite, 5, 6, 7 to 1 third favourite. You'll get more value each way on the second or the third than you would do on the winner. And lo and behold, often odds-on horses don't always do what they're supposed to do, and you can get some of those other horses, second or third in the betting, that win. What I'd never ever do is I will never back a horse purely on the price or where it is in the betting market. For me to back a horse, I have to understand some element of form in terms of how it looks on paper. So I am not looking, and you will find some professional punters out there who will look purely at price and betting market. For me, it's price, betting market and the horse. I need to look at all of those three things simultaneously to work out where I think the value is. Sometimes in these big handicaps, you might get 5 runners paying 5 places. I might think the horse at 8 to 1 actually is a decent horse, probably second best, I would say, and then I might find a horse at 33 to 1 that I think it's definitely got a chance, probably put it like 6th best. I would rather take the 33 to 1 horse that I think is 6th best, paying 5 places, than I would the 8 to 9 to 1 horse that I think is second best, because there's much more value in the odds at 33s in the long term. I'm hoping that makes a little bit of sense. So I don't always back the best horse, I don't always back the horse I think is going to win, but sometimes those horses that you might think are 6th best, they do go win. So it works. Okay, so constraints of the site. So it's a Sky Bet account. I'm putting out horse race bets for 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. If I did the bets at 9 o'clock at night, or I did the bets at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I might give you different selections because the betting market might look different. So I am slightly constrained with what are the time of day and the fact I'm betting through one singular betting account for the channel, purely so I can demonstrate statistics. So there is constraint there. You guys out there have got more options if you've got multiple betting accounts. If you want to make money on betting, it's advisable to at least have 2 or 3 betting accounts so you can shop around for the best prices and permutations of the race. Okay, nearly there. Hopefully it's not too rambly so far. Okay, last couple of things I was going to talk about is Cheltenham is in 6 weeks' time, and I will probably put out content this week for Cheltenham, looking at the anti-post market. I won't be doing lots on there, but there'll be something definitely to look at. And why am I doing it this week specifically? I think there's the value to be had in the anti-post market. You need to look before you get to the Dublin Racing Festival. So the Dublin Racing Festival is this weekend, 5th and 6th at Leopardstown. Really cracking in terms of quality of racing, and it will really significantly impact some of the individual betting markets for Cheltenham. So I'm trying to find angles prior to the Dublin Racing Festival. Beyond that, I think the market is much more in a formed sense, and so it's not worth looking at. There's the odd race, so the weekend after on the 12th is the Betfair Hurdle at Newbury. You know, that can inform certain races in there. It's a 2 mile decent handicap, so it does inform a couple of races, you know, sometimes even for the Supreme. As an aside, there's a horse in there, and I want to use this as a demonstration of when I would and wouldn't put a bet on. There's a horse running the Betfair Hurdle at the moment called First Street. It's a Nicky Henderson horse. If you were looking at Sky Bet at the moment, anti-post paying 4 places on the Betfair Hurdle, and that horse is 14-1. I wouldn't take that bet. If I looked at Paddy Power, they are paying 5 places anti-post market on the Betfair Hurdle, and that horse is 20-1. I think anti-post, because when you talk about anti-post, if that horse doesn't actually turn up on the day, you don't get your money back. It's not a non-runner until they go non-runner, no bet, or until you get, like, you know, normally 2 days before the race. So you've got an extra variable there to contend with. But 20-1 paying 5 places, given the form of that horse, here's a little tip, it's not on the statistics, I'd be back in First Street at 20-1, 5 places. I wouldn't on Sky Bet 14s at 4 places, because I don't think the value is there in the same way. So anyway, marginal tip for Betfair Hurdle. Alright, I'm going to leave it there. I think there's plenty of ramble going on. What I'd love to do, if anyone has listened to the end, I'd love to hear thoughts, feelings, questions, comments you've got in the comments box, and try and get some interaction on this video. It'd be great to hear what you think, and I'll try and answer any questions that you guys have got. Thanks for listening. If you stayed to the end and didn't fall asleep, you are brilliant. Well done to you. And I shall see you on other future videos. Thanks very much. Cheerio.